So, is Call of Duty World War II better than Battlefield 1? The question on quite a lot of people's minds, especially mine at the moment, because of these two games being some of the biggest war games ever. One coming from EA, one coming from Activision, two very big corporate companies going head to head, clashing yet again. But which one is the best war game? So obviously the question is World War II better than Battlefield 1? For me, the answer is very, very simple. No. And I'm about to explain to you exactly why. So when you take two of the biggest, bloodiest wars in the history of mankind, you kind of expect there to be a bit of realism and a little bit of respect. Now, when we talk about historical accuracy, please bear with me. I'm not going to be talking about women in the war or black people in the war or ethnicities and blah 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 and who was fighting for who, because quite frankly, that is not a conversation that I want to be involved with, because in some way, shape or form, I believe they get called sexist, a feminist, racist or something along them lines, so I am not even going to go there. When we talk about historical accuracy, I'm quite simply going to be talking about vehicles, costume designs, weapons, and that's pretty much it, and maps. So when it comes to all the locations, I think the Battlefield 1 captures it quite a lot better. I'm not saying the World War II doesn't capture the areas well. They capture the areas that they fight in extremely well. The Gibraltar map, I think, is an absolute masterclass of map design. But for me, it doesn't quite compare to something like San Quentin Scar because of the scale, which we'll talk about soon. The map design on Battlefield 1 is absolutely fantastic. How on earth someone at the map design bit of EA DICE, I guess you could say, manages to make a map suitable for 64 players, 32 a team, that is a big fucking achievement in itself. That is absolutely insane. I really, really have to appreciate that from a technical standpoint, because to make something that fluent and that good, it's just insane. It's an absolute technical achievement, and you have to give it to the guys at EA DICE for making such a fantastic job. And this goes for every single map, maybe bar like Suez or something, but every single map is catered for these 64 player battles, and it is absolutely fantastic. Every single one is fast paced, it's fun, it's quick, but it also has that element of war to it, which is key. This is a game based in the World War. You need that chaos, you need that unpredictability. Every now and then you need a plane to come over you and destroy you. You need a tank to shoot you in the face every now and then to create that chaotic unpredictability that the First World War really truly had. Now weapons as well, some of them are a bit far-fetched, okay, the Hellriegel being a big exception here, simply because of the fact that it was a prototype, but it was a prototype in that time period. Everything from Battlefield 1 is relevant to the time period, maybe in some occasions bar a few years, but to get that many weapons into a game based on the First World War, when weaponry was very, very limited, you have to take your hats off to EA DICE yet again. And how well they've captured each weapon with its real-life counterpart is fantastic. I recently went to Scotland, or a couple of months ago, and I went to a history museum in Scotland, and I saw the gun that the big sentry kit has, the MG, and I kid you not, it was absolutely identical. The same with the Martini Henry. I saw one of those in the place in Scotland, and it was absolutely identical to its in-game counterpart, which is absolutely insane, because Battlefield 1 just captures everything so perfectly. World War II, on the other hand, I'm not saying it's bad, but I'm just saying that because it's a Call of Duty game, it focuses a lot on automatic weaponry. Now, I'm not saying that Battlefield doesn't. Battlefield does rely on automatic weaponry, but the semi-auto rifles do, like, they stand for themselves. They're fucking good weapons. Whereas in World War II, the semi-autos like the M1 Garand and the SVT and stuff like that, they just don't compare to things like the Wafa 28 or the Type 100. They just shit all over it because they're fully automatic. This is the problem I think COD has had for a very, very long time, because in the Second World War, a lot of the weapons that most people used were the M1 Garand, the Thompson for the Americans, the Grease Gun, the MP40, and 9 times out of 10 that would probably pretty much be it. When you look at all these heavy MGs, they were more like mounted in like a nest or something. So when it comes to realism, I just don't think that Call of Duty has the same to offer that World War II has. And you may think that's me being unfair or biased, and maybe it is. I love Battlefield 1. It's like my favourite game of all time behind The Last of Us. But I just think realistically, from a technical standpoint and historical accuracy, Battlefield 1 just does take the cake. Now, on to the next thing, which is scale. Scale of war is obviously huge. It was a world war after all, so it needs to be big. Obviously, like I said, World War II doesn't do that. It's 6 versus 6, it's 12 players. It's kind of just a bit shit. I'm not saying the game is shit, I'm just saying that 6 versus 6 is shit. If it was 10 versus 10 and had that little bit more chaoticness, if that's even a word, it would be absolutely perfect. It would be fantastic because it would have that unpredictability that war genuinely had, and like Battlefield 1 does have. Battlefield 1, 64 players, 32 player teams. I cannot put this through enough. It's a huge game. It's absolutely ginormous. 64 players in a server. Now that, if that's not a true scale of war, I don't know what is. I mean, if you could make a game that has like thousands of people in one server, fair enough, go ahead. But the thing is, 64, 32 aside, it's an absolute chaotic, hyperactive, unpredictable, explosive mess of a match. And that is exactly what you want. The war wasn't won with a perfect plan. It was won with genuinely hard-fought battles and stuff like that. So when you go down to D, from St. Quentin, when you go down the hill to D and you see the enemies coming from E in the distance and you're with your squad, they have a tank, you have to work together and you have to put all of your resources together like a team, like in the war, to take out that tank and capture D. Okay, fair enough, all 5 of you might die, but all 5 of you might band together and kill every single one of them and the tank. Which for me is why Battlefield 1 is just a better game. It has the scale, it has the realism. For me, it also just has the more fun gameplay with the planes and tanks and whatnot. And if you're a Call of Duty fanboy and you're sitting here and like, oh, he's just being biased, he's being unfair, blah, 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 blah. Tough. I don't care. At the end of the day, World War II, it's still a fantastic game. No one's going to take that away from it. It's fun, it's fast-paced, it's action-packed, it's everything you want from a Call of Duty game. Zombies is, quite frankly, fucking amazing, but Battlefield 1, for that genuine war experience, is just better. Take a breath, because that was a long one. So yeah, there you go guys, that is my opinion on Call of Duty World War II and Battlefield 1. I still think Call of Duty World War II is a fantastic game, don't get me wrong, and if you are a fanboy, please don't dislike this video or give me hate in the comment section because that is not good for my channel. What you should be doing is hitting the like button and the thumbs up button because then it helps me out a lot, and if you haven't already, hit subscribe down below because it is free after all, and if you really want to be nice, you could hit the little bell sign because then you get notified when I upload a video. But guys, I have been your boy CG, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.